Hi, my name is Gurjot, and today I'll be talking about poaching and how I believe developing countries are why it's occurring. Before we begin, I'd like to mention that there are only a few graphic images in this presentation. Still, if you're sensitive from such images, you're allowed to step out of the room. To start off, poaching is the illegal act of capturing, killing, and hunting animals on another's property. Every year, thousands and thousands of animals we all know and love are killed. The statistics for poaching are extreme. 98% of black rhinos have been killed since 1960, and 87% of bears were killed by licensed poachers, an estimated 379 per year. As you can see on this graph, poaching of rhinos wasn't as common in 2007, but then it gradually became more common until it reached its highest peak in 2014, where 1,215 of them were killed. From there on, there has been a significant drop, which is most likely because of the government and others deciding to take action, like taking rhinos into 24-hour custody and enforcing laws against killing them. Poaching started first in Europe during the 1700s, when the poor resorted to killing animals to get basic needs for their survival. Back then, poaching could get you a life sentence and even the death penalty, depending on how major your crime was. Poaching now is most common in Africa, in areas such as Mozambique and Zimbabwe. Poaching even occurs in areas such as the US, China, and so many others. It basically takes place in at least every continent. Not only does poaching occur, but so does illegal trafficking. Just behind drugs and weapon trafficking, trafficking poached items is estimated to make $70 to $215 billion a year. With that money, you can buy Kim and Kanye's house 10,000 times. Over 70% of illegal trafficked poached items are sent to China, where the rich and wealthy demand for high-quality items as a show of status. Some partners in these illegal antics include Kenya, India, and a few others. Africa is considered a developing nation, since 31 out of 48 of their countries are ranked below 150th on the HDI scale. This is mainly because of their lack of cleanliness, lack of education, and high poverty rates. To solve these problems, Africans need resources, and poaching helps. Ivory is sold for over $1,500, while rhino horn can go up to a whopping $60,000. Rhino horns are now considered more valuable than diamond, gold, and even cocaine. Poaching helps developing countries by giving them what they need. After all, poaching did start in developing areas by developing people. Poaching provides the poor and unfortunate with basic needs like food, clothes, and money. So the reasoning why they do it isn't as radical as it seems. Another reason as to why poaching is occurring in developing countries are the myths. Back in 2011, people started saying that powdered rhino horns could cure cancer. This myth is now responsible for the death of 3 species of rhinos. A study done in Taiwan shows that rhino horns don't cure cancer. All it does is temporarily reduce sickness in young children, and it's not even as effective as aspirin, despite knowing that rhinos are still hunted to this day. Developing countries are responsible for poaching because of their need for resources. But why? Why poach? Africa is home to rich materials like natural gases and precious metals, so why don't they just make a profit out of that? The answer to that would be their lack of education. They don't have the knowledge on what to do with these resources and how to extract them. Once they do, we'll be miles behind them in the next 50 years. Then again, if Africa doesn't have the knowledge, why do other developing countries poach? And why do they support it? Not only does greed take over, but they just don't care. Going back to our conversation on Friday, it may majorly affect them in the future, but why care? Developing countries will continue to poach until the last animal on Earth is shot dead. How can we fix this? The easiest way is to help Africa ourselves. They have so much potential and can become a developed nation easily. They just need a bit of help and a push forward. We can help by not stealing their resources and offering some of ours instead. The reason why third world countries poach is pretty important for them. But if poaching continues at this rate, rhinos and elephants will only be remembered through pictures, and our children will ask us what bears and tigers are and why they're not here today. How will we answer them? This only time will tell. Thank you for listening to this presentation, and I hope you learned something new from it today.
created using Powtoon.